My brand new book, The Social Media Cheat Code, is now pre-ordering on waitlist.net. Order your signed copy today. Thanks for your support. To everybody who's been liking the videos so far, we thank y'all. You guys liking the videos has kind of helped us start to grow the channel even more, so we appreciate it. To those who have not, please, we ask you, hit the like button before you even watch this video. It helps us grow the channel, helps people learn about us, and allows us to make more great content like this. So that's all we got. Thank you for helping us grow this channel. Hit the like button right now, and on with the show. All right, folks, we back. Super duty tough work.
What up, what up, what up?
Printnificence. Illogic. The most infamous podcast on planet Earth. Back in your face. Doing a damn thing. You know, shout out to all of our supporters. Worldwide. I've been hearing a lot of compliments about the organization that we've been doing on the YouTube page. With the playlists and such. See, the podcast is bullet points and such.
Right.
The YouTube is playlists and such.
Facts.
You get laced up. Playlists and such. By that I mean, for those who are sitting at home, we have playlists that are organized on our YouTube channel by topic. So when you hear a topic, while you listen to the podcast version, there's no way to do this, right? But on YouTube, we can organize all the topics into playlists that contain only that topic. So, for example, when we did our writing episodes a couple months ago, we did 4 weeks about writing. If you are writing something and you need to power up on writing, hit the YouTube page. There's a playlist for that. Get up on the YouTube page. Marketing and promotion. Somebody asked me, Britt, do y'all have one of these playlists for marketing promotion? I said, matter of fact, we do, Britt.
Let me lace you real quick.
Playlists and such. Had to lace him up. Hit him with that link. You know, everything that we've talked about on this podcast, if we've touched on that theme more than once, I think right now we stand at about 7 to 8 different playlists on there. Music production. We got a playlist for that. Multiple episodes. You know, so go to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube page, and support your boys, man. Support us, you know. Subscribe to the channel. We need more followers. Shit.
Yeah.
We still ain't cracked 2,000 followers on YouTube yet.
Yeah, they sleeping, man. Cats is sleeping.
We're like 18. We looking right up as like 1,800. Come on, man. Help your boys crack 2,000. We need 200 people from this side, the audio side, to go over to YouTube. And if you're on the YouTube side already, thank you.
Appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? So this week we're going to talk about something that, you know, we wanted to do this a couple weeks ago, but, you know, timing and all kind of other things happened. So this week we're going to talk about Biz Markie.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't done a lot of episodes about hip hop or specific artists, you know, in a minute. And so this week we want to talk about the creative genius of Biz Markie, because as we know, Biz passed away last month, and hip hop legend, to say the least.
Yeah.
Incredible artist and entertainer, and just a guy who I don't think people really understood how just like creative this dude was, and how that helped him become more successful in his career. And this episode, I want to talk about like some of the things that worked for him that can work for you, that you may already have kind of going for yourself, but you may not even thought about them. Yeah. And so if you're an artist at home and you think, man, things are not working, or how can I improve this? How can I channel what I'm good at? How do I translate who I am into something that works for me? This episode, I hope, will help you, because Biz Markie very much was a guy who took his God-given gifts and talents and uniqueness and just really maximized it. you know, wasn't the best at anything.
Right.
But but he was unmistakably himself. One of a kind, one of one in the music industry. And, you know, we're going to talk about the creative genius of Biz Markie, and we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
We got you stuck off the realness, the most infamous, you heard of us. Official podcast murderers, the show comes equipped with viewpoints to share. Grown man ideas for all those who care and want to grow, so go ahead and download. Every single week with a brand new episode. You're not alone in this world, cousin, so we share information and honest discussion and keep repping the culture like we supposed to. They spread gossip, but they never come close to. I can hear it inside their tone. They talk about the industry but never left their home. You get laced up with bullet points and such, plus empowering topics that they never would touch. You can put your whole network against the team, but Super Duty Tough Work's the MVP. Most valuable podcast on MP3. Priceless info, but all of it's free. So take these words home and think them through. Super Duty Tough Work is coming at you. You are now listening to Super Duty Tough Work with your host, Blueprint. Raw and uncut. Adult conversations. No shucking, no jiving, and no bullshit.
All right, folks, we back. The creative genius of Biz Markie. You know, shout out to all the hip hop heads worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to, all the pioneers. Rest in peace to Biz Markie, man. One of my favorite rappers. You know, I said this I did the Artist Advice Hour, and somebody asked me about like the funny songs in my catalog. And at that time I was like, look, man, those songs don't exist without Biz Markie. You know, because Biz Markie was one of my favorite rappers growing up. And so he had a big influence on me, especially like, like the comedic stuff. You know, we'll get into that this episode. But the first, trait that we want to talk about, with Biz Markie is a record collector.
Yeah.
He was known as like a top tier record collector throughout the hip hop industry. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand, but we'll get into it, is not producers know, and you know this now as a producer. When you start getting deep into the crates, it opens up your knowledge of music.
Right.
You start hearing records that you never would have heard otherwise.
And never would have wanted to hear. You wouldn't even have went to, to the world section in the record store.
Right. You'd have walked right past it.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Especially like if you grew up on soul or something like that.
Yeah.
You would walk right past the rock section.
Yeah.
The world section, the dance, disco. Yep. You would ignore all of those records. But Biz was like an avid collector. Like there's a Biz quote. He says, "I collect a lot of things, and some things I like to be close to me." He had a lot of like his record collection. I've heard stories about him with the was it the Beanie Babies or some weird little toy. He collected toys. He collected obviously vinyl. I talked to Mr. Dibbs once. Dibbs was telling me stories about Biz Markie having, because him and Biz were friends. They had a friendship, and Biz, I guess, had like a whole house of records. He had 2 cribs at one point. One just was all records. All records, man. So it not only makes you a fan of the music that you're collecting, but it also widens your palette. And if you're an artist, then it translates into the type of music you make, because now you're drawing from a whole lot of different inspirations, And when you look at Biz Markie's music that he created, what I find to be wild is that this dude was one of the dopest, known as one of the most prolific record collectors, but he wasn't known as a producer.
Right.
And in that era of hip hop, Marley Marl produced all his records, but in that era of hip hop, the production was always kind of hazy, right? Like the definition of what a producer is different now.
Oh, very different.
There's all kind of stories about guys not producing something but bringing the records, being involved in the process. The actual engineers were the only ones who knew how to use a lot of that equipment, because it wasn't like these guys had their own studios for the most part. So a lot of these guys would go to bigger studios, and the bigger studios had a guy sitting there who knew how to work the sampler. So they would bring their records and the shit that they wanted to sample, and then the engineer would help them hook it up.
Right.
But a lot of guys during that era did not necessarily get their props as producers. And I think Biz is probably one of those guys, because there's no way you can have the record collection that he had and not be bringing some of those records to the table for your albums.
Yeah, and he didn't even get recognized as a DJ till later in life.
True. So true.
He didn't start spinning until after his music career was pretty much, coming to an end. Because I think he put his last record out in 2003.
Yeah.
I want to say. But then he started getting known, and getting booked as a DJ.
Yeah.
Really heavy.
Yeah.
And he was a dope DJ too.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, a lot of that, he was playing 45 sets.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at that, you can't play no 45 sets if you don't know a lot about records.
Oh yeah, because that's one song, bro. Like, that's one joint. So you gotta know the BPM.
Yeah.
You gotta know, you gotta know your collection.
And they not cheap.
Nah, not good ones.
No, yeah, spinning 45s is not a cheap endeavor for DJs. And you typically, the guys you see who play all 45 sets are people who are avid record collectors.
Right.
Anybody can DJ, but guys who play 45 sets are typically avid collectors.
Yeah.
So what you see, and I think that had a profound impact on the kind of music Biz made and what he sampled. One thing you notice from Biz is that he wasn't a guy who sampled a lot of records that other people were sampling.
Right.
You had guys who were all sampling Nautilus, Funky Drummer. You know what I mean? Like all the staples of that era. There were a lot of samples that were getting passed around and common breaks, but you never really heard that on Biz Markie's records. And you look at later in his career when he started making the songs where he would it would be somebody singing one thing and he would kind of flip it and bounce it to his own thing. None of those are records that we would have found out about if it wasn't for him. I wouldn't have known about the song, the You Got What I Need song, if it wasn't for Biz Markie.
Right.
Singing it and flipping it, and so, I don't know if you remember, but Cryptic made a post on his Instagram when Biz died, where he was playing the original sample that Biz re-sang for one of his songs. It was like a local electronic shop. Do you remember that?
Nah.
Oh yeah, you got to check it out. It's on Cryptic's Instagram. It's like this 80s ad for this electronics store called Nobody Beats the Wiz.
Oh, crazy.
And the store is called The Wiz. It was a chain of electronic stores in an upstate New York area. And there's just the record was like, nobody beats the Wiz. Nobody beats the Wiz. Nobody beats the Wiz. Nobody beats the Wiz.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And I wouldn't have known it if Cryptic didn't post it, a few weeks ago. And I was like, holy shit, I never knew that's what that was. I always wondered, like, how'd he come up with this shit, And they basically took this local commercial, flipped it into this Nobody Beats the Biz shit. And it's so dope. But he was just a creative sampler, man.
Yeah.
Creative. And you think, and even if you're looking at taking what somebody did in a hook and flipping it into But You Say Just a Friend and all the songs he had that were kind of like that, no one was doing it before him.
Oh no, nobody was doing it. Because everything that he did, like you said in the beginning, like he was undoubtedly himself.
Yeah.
And there was nobody that sounded like Biz, nobody that did the type of music that Biz did. And, it just shined through, in all his music.
Yeah, man. And then there's something else I want to talk about here too, because one of the things that we have to also look at when we evaluate Biz's career is they came along when sampling laws were not even a thing.
Right.
Sampling was a brand new technology, and so what they were doing, it hadn't fully been regulated yet. You know, they were walking some fine lines. And Biz Markie, in addition to being known as one of the most, avid record collectors and collectors in hip hop, is also known as the guy who's responsible for sampling laws being installed in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Being created. Special laws were created because of what they were doing. And there's a excerpt I'm going to read here from an NPR article where it's talking about like this thing. And it says, it's about Biz Markie, and it says, when sampling technology and practices became hip hop's musical blueprint in the late 80s, the business and legal rules were a thoroughly gray area. Since the techniques created digital copies of source material, copyright holders could argue that unauthorized sampling violated their intellectual property. Those doing the sampling could argue they were repurposing fragments of recorded music to create something entirely new. Up until 1991, disputes around those arguments carried more weight, about whose argument carried more weight, tended to be settled out of court. This is where Biz comes back in. In 1991, O'Sullivan sued Markie over the Alone Again sample. This case came hot on the heels of a $1.7 million settlement between the members of the 60s rock group, The Turtles, and the rap group De La Soul, all stemming from a few seconds of a Turtles song sampled by De La. With the O'Sullivan Markie case, one complication was that Markie and his label did initially try to clear the sample through O'Sullivan, but when the singer-songwriter declined to do so, the label released the song anyway. This set up the eventual legal showdown, which, unlike the previous cases, didn't get settled out of court, but instead ended up being decided by Judge Kevin Duffy in a far-reaching decision for future sampling practices. Duffy found Biz Markie guilty of infringing on O'Sullivan's copyright, ordered the rapper to pay $250,000 in damages, barred Markie's label, Warner Brothers, from continuing to sell either single or album, and, most astoundingly, referred the matter to criminal court on the grounds that Markie was liable for theft. The rapper was never charged. Duffy's decision permanently altered the landscape of sampling, not so much curtailing it. Sampling is still popular after all, but changing the creative and business practices around it.
Wow.
Deep, right?
Wow. It's crazy. I didn't know that it was Biz.
Yeah.
That was the catalyst for the sample laws. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. Yep, it was Biz. And, one of the complications of this is like if you go to Spotify right now and look for Biz's catalog, a lot of it's not on streaming sites.
Yeah, none of the old stuff.
Yeah, same thing for De La Soul.
Yep.
Isn't it wild that the two groups who were at the pioneer, you know what I'm saying, for all of the sample clearance stuff, their catalogs have been kind of wiped out of the digital space to where you can't even listen to their music anymore?
Yeah.
It's kind of fucked up. You got to have physical copies. There's best of Biz Markie songs out there. And his biggest hits have been allowed to be up there. Same for De La, but a lot of their old catalog, due to this stuff, it sucks that they couldn't work out nothing 20, 30 years later for people to just enjoy the songs and just work out something equitable,
Yeah.
But yeah, creative sampling, Biz Markie was at the forefront of that. And because he was, his catalog has some stuff's there, some stuff's not. But that's one of the things that actually made him successful. So that's number one. Okay, let's move on to number two. Number two thing, trait to make Biz Markie a creative genius is beatboxing.
Yeah, he was one of the illest.
Yeah, one of the, like back in the day, and people don't really know it now because back in the day, it wasn't that many beatboxers.
Right.
You had like
good ones anyway.
Right. You had Dougie Fresh. You had Buff from the Fat Boys. You had Jockbox from Skinny Boys. There was some others, but overall, gosh, who's the guy from Mantronics? Was somebody in Mantronics? But yeah, there was maybe about 5 to 6 beatboxers.
Yeah, that were known
by their names.
Yeah.
But there were only a couple who beatboxed and rhymed.
Yeah.
Him and Dougie Fresh. And I think that created a situation where Biz was able to he was able to use that to kind of brand himself differently than most of his peers could, right? So like you had Biz, excuse me for a second, my nose. Like Biz was able to basically become, more popular than any of his other beatboxing peers. Because not only could he beatbox, he was recording with the beatbox, he was beatboxing for other people. He could use it on stage and employ it as a tool to entertain. And then it made people more curious about him because he rapped and had actual songs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, there was a lot of unique branding he was allowed to do simply because he could say, yeah, I rap, but I beatbox too. And I think that really went a long way to making him more unique in that era.
Yeah, and the ill thing about the beatbox, like we experienced this having Prism, as our DJ.
Yes.
And, even being out on tour and seeing what Carnage is doing now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like just seeing what having that tool in your toolbox allows you to do, especially with a live show. Like the fact that he was doing that in the 80s.
Yep.
And had that ability. And same with Dougie Fresh, like having that ability in the 80s, it changes the whole game for you because you don't necessarily need a sound system. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
To perform.
Nope.
You are the beat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it completely changed the way people looked at you and what the idea of a hip hop performance was back then.
Yeah. And now there's like an underground circuit of beatboxers, right? Like guys we know who still carry the torch and do it. The Rozelles probably played a big part in bringing it back to the forefront with the Roots. But, back in the early 80s, mid 80s, beatboxers were seen as just an important element, just like the DJ. You know what I mean? Like groups had beatboxers in them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that kind of faded for a while because, ain't no real money in beatboxing like rapping, as they say, like, the DJ used to be the most popular element, but then as soon as the rapping became popular, every other element kind of got pushed to the back, So same thing with beatboxing, but Biz was known, make the music with your mouth, Biz.
Yep.
That one of his most popular songs had a lot, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't happen if he isn't just as talented on the beatbox as he is with the rhyming.
Right.
And so what I would like to stress to people at home listening as artists is like, you may have something like that in your toolbox that you do that's unique. Maybe it's some kind of instrument you learn to play as a child. Maybe it's some weird shit like the fucking harmonica. I don't fucking know. The kazoo, beatboxing, but doing impressions. A lot of times when we get older, we kind of let those things slide,
Right.
Or we become artists. We think, I got to just do this. I got to just rap.
Yeah.
I can't show none of my other talents or else I ain't keeping it real. The haunted by the ghost of keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? But the what you should be doing is thinking, how do I use all of my talents to make me stand out more, to truly tell the story of who I am? And I think Biz did a great job at that.
Yeah. That stuff makes you uniquely you. The people that, I mean, honestly, just like what you do, like playing a fucking trombone on stage. Like you what rapper do you know other than Blueprint that has ever brought a fucking trombone out on stage? Like
it's true.
That's some uniquely Blueprint shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the fact that a lot of cats played instruments in elementary school and middle school and high school and, might still play and might still, but don't utilize those things.
It's
and
true.
They should, because it makes them uniquely, themselves. And it's a cool thing to have in your toolbox. Something special. Everybody got something special.
Yeah. Just embrace it. And don't get discouraged about it if you ain't the best. You got to be the best. Was Biz Markie the best beatboxer? Not necessarily, but his beatboxing skills in a landscape of rappers who didn't beatbox at all made him super unique.
Yeah,
he was an entertainer. So that's number 2. All right, let's take a break real quick, and then we'll be right back.
Yeah.
My brand new book, The Social Media Cheat Code, is now pre-ordering on waitlist.net. Order your signed copy today. Thanks for your support. All right, folks. Super Duty Tough Work. We back. We're talking about the creative genius of Biz Markie. You know, to all our old school hip hop fans in the building, to everybody who's a fan of hip hop in general, just an artist trying to be the best you can be. I hope y'all are getting something out of this. The next trait we want to talk about with Biz is Big Daddy Kane. One thing that really helped Big Biz was that he put on Big Daddy Kane. And before I even get into this, or we talk about it, I'm going to play this. This is a clip from Big Daddy Kane's Instagram. Some of you may have heard it. Some of you may not have. I'm just going to play it here.
I'm 15 years old. I've tried everything possible to establish a record deal.
Hold on. We'll keep going.
And nothing worked. Feeling like I'm out of options. And then one day, I go into Albee Square Mall and ask a stranger for a battle. And after the battle, he told me I was dope. And said that I need to get down with him. He be doing parties for Mike and Dave up in the Bronx, Harlem, Long Island. And if I get down with him, he promised me he gonna get me a record deal and we gonna make it. And that brother kept his word. He took me on the road with him. Had me write half his first album. And he got me a record deal. So, more than a friend. My lifeline, you feel me? Emma's I'm gonna miss you. And I'll always love you. Rest well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's Big Daddy Kane from his Instagram, the day that Biz Markie passed. And wanted to play that because some people, we look at this music industry like we got to put ourselves on. We got to always do everything ourselves. I got to get signed. I got to figure this whole thing out by myself. And you just listen to that story. It kind of shows you that that wasn't necessarily how Biz looked at it.
Right.
Biz battled Kane, probably didn't win the battle.
Yeah.
Knowing how nasty Kane is at that.
Right.
And Biz said, you know what, man? Roll with me, man.
Yeah, I got you.
I got you.
I got you.
Let's work together. You can, I'm going to get a sign and then you can write half of my debut album.
Yep. Get you some writing credits.
Get
credits. Your name out there.
Then I'm going to take you on tour with me.
Yep.
And he did everything he said he was going to do and put Kane on. And we don't have no Big Daddy Kane without Biz.
And then Kane did the same for Jay-Z.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
Hello.
Like he kept it going.
Hello.
He did the same for Jay-Z and Jazzo. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what he was taught. You know?
Yeah.
That's dope. That's super dope.
Yeah, man. And sometimes we underestimate the importance of that, man. Like, sometimes you don't have to do everything yourself, man. There are talented people who are around you who are capable of helping you execute your dreams. But they can't help you if you don't reach out to them or if you're too insecure to try to extend the, you know what I'm saying? To admit that they can help you and that you both have a common goal. Let's do this together.
Yep.
You know, and the thing about Biz is Biz wasn't the best rapper, wasn't the best performer, wasn't the best producer, wasn't the most articulate. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't no fucking poet as we define, you know, the super articulate words crap. You know, it's like, nah, man. But Biz has some incredible foresight.
Yes.
And he thought bigger than a lot of creative people do to say, fuck it. This guy is dope. Why don't you come help me write this record? We can write some hits together. You can get your shit up out. Come on. We'll roll like that. And I think a lot of us will be very well served to kind of listen to that and say, you know, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
Am I trying to do all the heavy lifting myself?
Yeah.
Are there people who want to help me that I'm not allowing to? Are there people I can work with to achieve my goal faster? If so, what's stopping me from reaching out and doing something for them?
Yeah.
Reaching out and inviting them into what I got going on, especially if I know they fuck with me.
Right.
Because you don't get testimonies like that from artists like Kane unless you move that way.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is something that I just did an interview with Jay Rawls for my 5-spot thing, and we talked about legacy. And this is one of those things, like, I don't think artists really think about, you know, as far as how they will be remembered and what their legacy in music will be. And, you know, when you pass on things to, you know, when you help people, when you pass on things to the next generation, when you pass on things to other artists, when you give other artists opportunities, that does nothing but, you know, solidify your legacy in the music business, in your city, in your state, just in their lives in general. Like it creates a legacy and something that, you know, you are remembered for.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we would have no Big Daddy Kane, you know, as we know him without Biz Markie, that alone is enough.
Yeah.
To, you know what I'm saying? To solidify, you know, Biz Markie's legacy in this game. The fact that he gave us Big Daddy Kane.
Yep.
Like, you know, how many rappers would not exist if there was no Big Daddy Kane?
Yep.
We'd have no Tretch.
No
We'd have no
Jay-Z.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no Jay-Z. There'd be so many rappers that we would not have if Big Daddy Kane didn't exist. And that's, I mean, even Eminem, like, gives props to Big Daddy Kane as, like, one of his favorite artists that he listened to and modeled his style after in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy.
It's true, man. And, you know, and you know, just to reiterate, like, it's very easy for us as rappers to see other rappers technically as like a threat due to the competitive nature of this. You know, like, oh, he can rap better than me. Biz, instead of saying, yo, he can rap better than me, F him, Biz was like, yo, he can rap better than me. He's an asset.
Right.
He's an incredible writer. I'm going to help him, and in helping him, I'll help myself, and then I'll have a stronger chance of success.
Yep.
Don't see him as a threat. It's really fucking dope, and people don't talk about that part of Biz Markie enough.
Nah, not at all.
You know? But yeah, that's number 3. Kane. Number 4 trait behind the creative genius of Biz Markie is his sense of humor.
Yeah, this is what he's most known for, I think.
Yeah. Sense of humor. One thing you have to give Biz, if you listen to Biz Markie's albums, all of them have multiple funny songs on them.
Picking boogers, man.
God. Classic.
Hey, Mom, what's for dinner?
Go up your nose and pick a winner.
Pick a winner.
Picking boogers. Yeah, he said, I put boogers on a basketball and pass it to him. Yo, Biz is a wild dude, man. That whole song was great. Yeah. Hey, Mom, what's for dinner? Go up your nose and pick a winner. Picking boogers. Yeah, man. Yeah, he just talks about, you know. But yeah, that whole song will just have you weak, man. But he had those songs on every album.
Yes.
And you could tell that's just who Biz was. Like, he's probably a dude who everybody loved hanging out with because he was just so fucking fun and wild. Funny ass sense of humor. And people like that are loved universally, man.
Yeah.
Some of us have senses of humor, but then we get on record and then, you know, we turn into just like Scarface and shit.
Right. I have this issue because like I came into the game pretty serious, you know what I mean? And like I have a good sense of humor.
You do.
You know what I'm saying?
You do. I mean, you and I bug out every week. People don't even know.
Yeah.
People don't know how
like,
funny you are. Like,
yeah, I'm a pretty funny dude. You know what I'm saying? But like, I just it just doesn't translate to music. You know what I'm saying? Just because I feel like people take me too seriously, and sometimes I take myself too seriously.
yeah.
You know, but I think like we was talking about before. Like, I think I'm gonna try to, just open up. What can go wrong?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the thing. But what you just touched on something real important, which is like the whole like sometimes I take myself too seriously and the art too seriously. Biz didn't do that.
No, not at all.
He did not take himself that seriously. He was not afraid to make fun of himself.
Yeah.
To talk about his failures. Like, he didn't care. He could be funny on record because he wasn't worried about people like seeing him as less. He's like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I'm fun. I got a great sense of humor in real life. His goal, simply, all he did was just embrace who the fuck he already was. And he was successful because of that.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of his stuff was just funny, man. Like, just like, and he would just have funny lines in there. Like, he had the song about like, gosh, I think it's on the second record. And it's about stepping to this girl in the club. And he saw her across the club. And he got this line where he says, I told my dick, don't worry, we're fucking tonight. You know what I mean? No, that line, man, that line is so amazing. I told my dick, don't worry, we're fucking tonight. Yo, that shit is so amazing. Amazing. But like, he wasn't afraid to just like say some funny ass shit. Just wasn't afraid of people thinking he was goofy or thinking less of him because he was having fun on a record.
Like one of his biggest, like how many artists would sing off key and keep it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like all of his songs, it's spring again.
Yeah.
You know, like all of his shit.
Yep.
He knew he couldn't sing.
Right.
He wasn't, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't trying to be Johnny Gill.
Yeah.
He wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like he knew what he was doing, but it worked.
In the Just a Friend video, this motherfucker
come on, bro.
when he's at the piano with the white wig on, looking like, you know what I mean?
Liberace
yeah,
and shit.
like what has he got on?
Yeah.
Knowing he couldn't play up to the
Right.
he wasn't afraid, man, to be himself. There's a big lesson in that for artists, man. If you're at home, man, like, yo, your superpower is who you are.
Yeah.
A lot of artists spend so much time trying to be like somebody else, saying what they would say, trying to word this how they would word it. Trying to make sure that you fit within these lines that other people have already defined. But some of these things don't play to your strengths. Your strength is being you. No one can be you like you can. We say it all the time on this show. Like, no one can be you like you. And once you figure that out, your goal should just be to, how can I express myself like only I can more frequently and more authentically? Until eventually you listen to your music, you look at your art, and it just sounds like it's just completely a reflection of who you are. And you're like, it's like talking. Like we talked about, like writing is like talking to us. We don't be thinking about it. And that's because it's who we are.
Right.
Like I don't view writing as no more difficult than anything else I do, because it's like, yo, I'm just really trying to be honest. And as long as I'm honest, then my writing will reflect that.
Yeah.
And Biz, he wasn't the best. He would leave mistakes in his records.
On purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would hear him say things wrong, like she had 9-10 pants and a very big bra. Grammatically, is that really right? Left it in there. Clearly, he just liked it. Like, yo, it just sounds fly like that. I'm going to just leave that shit in there. And it just made his music sound real free. And I think we can learn a lot from that, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's number 4?
4.
Okay, let's do one more. Number 5 trait to make Biz Markie unique is He was a storyteller.
The Vapors, man.
Come on, man. One big 3 story. Each verse is a story, right?
Each verse is a story.
My partner Kane. You know what I'm saying? He used to say he was the worst thing his mom's ever had. You know? Cool V, welcome to my store. Offering him a job, but now he don't want it. Damn, it feels good to see people up on it.
People up on it. Yep.
You know, the whole song is a story. Just a friend. 3-part story. Boy meets girl. Boy gets involved with girl. Boy fucking loses girl. All of Biz Markie's most successful songs was him telling stories, not no crazy cinematic universe. He was just telling stories about his life and the people around him.
Yep.
Any of us can do that.
Yes.
It's nothing crazy. It's like, yo, the stories are right in front of you. And he didn't think, oh man, no one gonna care about this story, about this Vapors thing. Nobody gonna care about, you know what I mean? He told all these stories, and then what do? We was like, yeah, I can relate to that. That's the realest shit. Yep. That happened to my friend too.
Yeah. That's why damn, it feels good to see people up on it with such a quotable.
Yeah.
And it's still to this day. Because, you know, you get to that, because even times, there's times like in my personal life, like especially like last year when I dropped Autopilot.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I said that to myself. You know what I'm saying?
Feels good to see people up on it.
You know, like, damn, it feels good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because I remember when at first they wasn't.
Right. Now guess what they call from my cousin?
The Vapors.
The Vapors.
Man. Yeah, it's dope. It's like one thing we have to see as artists, and what Biz was great at, you go listen to any of his records, they're full of just stories, is that we tell our stories. That's how we tell who we are. Yeah. That's how we let people know how we see the world, and the stories we tell have been being passed down from mankind as long as man has been on this planet. Yeah. You know, you go look in the hieroglyphics did what? It told stories about those who came before. And, you know, what is the Bible? Full of stories. Stories are at the crux of what it means to be a human. We pass these things down. It's how we learn by our elders telling us stories and sharing things with us. You know, and we as artists need to understand it's a powerful tool.
Yeah, they say experience is the best teacher, and that's all stories is our experiences.
Yep.
And that's how we learn, is from those experiences. Whenever, you know, I sit my sons down and try to talk to them about a certain point, I tell them a story. You know what I'm saying? So they can follow, like, okay, you know, oh, that's how you got to this point, is by going through these steps and experiencing these things.
Yeah.
And this is, you know, like you said, this is how, you know, for generations, you know, like, we pass things down so we can teach, you know, we can learn and not make the same mistakes our ancestors made, and you know, or just have shit we can relate to, you know, so we know we ain't alone in this fucking world going through this shit.
Yeah. And that's what people walk away with listening to a song like Just a Friend. This song is like, that's Z-Trip posted a video of playing that in front of a stadium, 50,000, 100,000 people singing, but you say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, you. All of these people know that song.
Yes.
None of them knew the original that he sampled. And they know that song because it's so relatable.
Yes.
How many guys have been in that position? 99% of us.
Right.
All of us have,
and girls.
You're like, yo, you've been friend zoned. You thought you had some shit cracking. This person was doing some other shit. You know, the person you wanted, come to find out, they went away to college. The whole going away to college and finding someone else, that's a whole thing in itself. That's the realest shit. Everybody who's had high school love know what it's like when one person go to a college and you don't go to that college. And then you talk to them a couple months in and everything be distant.
Right, short conversation.
Yeah, they got a bunch of
They ain't got time.
No, they got time. They got a bunch of new friends. You don't know none of the people they friends with.
Yeah.
They in a whole different world. You've been left behind. Then pretty soon, you know what? I don't think this is gonna work out. I think we should just. That happened to me my freshman year. Happened to me.
Mine too.
You know.
Mine too.
High school John just stepped out on me, man. Just left me in the dust, man. But it's what happens. That's why the story, though, him sharing that story, let everybody know you're not alone, man. You might be an artist. You might have something inside of you like that. You might be thinking, man, nobody care about my story. Everybody know about them. Nah. Get rid of that negative dialogue and tell your story, because there's somebody out there who's waiting on you to tell it. Yes. Because they're going through the exact same thing.
And they don't know how to articulate it.
Thank you. Don't know. They feel alone.
Yep.
And so, that was one of Biz's dopest traits. So, we'll take a break and we'll be right back. While I got y'all here, let me remind y'all about a few things we got back in stock on weightless.net right now. First being the King No Crown movie DVD. This is a double DVD, deluxe DVD. One DVD, first DVD is the movie. Second is all the extra features. That's back in stock. It was out of stock for a while. My movie, this is my first movie, came out in 2017. Free version, which is the clean versions on YouTube. This is the unedited version, dirty version, I guess, if you will, which is available now on weightless.net. Other thing, 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists. This book came out about 2 to 3 months ago. So my latest book. This book breaks down the habits, the traits that you see across some of the dopest artists in hip hop. This is my 4th book. And so far, it's been my most successful. Amazing feedback on it. This book is here. If you missed out the first time, it's like $14 on the store plus shipping. We got deals that come with bookmarks with it, free stickers, autographs, all of that stuff on weightless.net. That's in stock. Other thing, more importantly, we've restocked. We've reissued the Two-Headed Monster vinyl. This vinyl is it was red on the first pressing. This next pressing is yellow. This is just now hitting. So if you haven't got it, head to weightless.net and get it. Sold out the first time in like 2-3 months. It's doing pretty good this time, but get it if you missed it the first time. It's on yellow vinyl. Comes with a download card. Also being restocked, has been reimpressed, is the Two-Headed Monster vinyl right here. Clear vinyl. Two-Headed Monster album. Same thing. This sold out pretty fast in 2018. So we just repressed it here. But you can get that at weightless.net. And there's prices, special bundle prices for all of this stuff. Now, what's already been in stock, which you probably already have if you don't, just so you don't know, King No Crown. King No Crown vinyl. It's red vinyl. King No Crown is double vinyl, though. 2 pieces of double vinyl. But yeah, that's here. That's the record with Persevere on it. Dope record. Great Ideas Never Dies on this record as well. But that's there. And then last thing, which some of you may have or may not, is Vigilante Genesis EP, which is me and Aesop Rock on the production. This is available on vinyl too. But this one is blue vinyl. I ain't gonna open this up just to show you blue vinyl. Trust me, it's blue. But this comes with all the vocal tracks on one side and the instrumentals, which are produced by Aesop Rock on the B side. So that's it. If you got this stuff already, thank you. If you don't, if you want to support, go to weightless.net. Pick up your copy of any of these things on vinyl, any of the books, the movie. We have apparel as well. And thank you for your time. See y'all soon. Peace. Yeah. Super Dute. Tough work. We're back, folks, talking about the creative genius of Biz Markie. I hope that y'all are getting something out of this. I hope that you are inspired. Maybe go back and revisit some of his music, and maybe this will make you listen to his music and view his career a little bit differently. I hope so. I hope it also makes you view your own a little differently, view your own art and creativity a little differently, because there are some great lessons to be, pulled from Biz Markie. Definitely. So we got 2 more points to make. 2 more points. Number 6 thing, behind the creative genius of Biz Markie is that he was extremely relatable. Now, we talked about this in the last one, and so we're not going to go too deep into this, but when we talk about relatability, we talk about, we want to be artists who are able to articulate things. We want to be dope poets, wordsmiths, and we want to be clever, and we want to say great things. But what hits harder than all that shit is when people can relate to it.
Yes.
Saying something that sounds dope or making something that looks great is just one part of what we should be doing. We should also be thinking about how this resonates with people. And to resonate with people, sometimes you need something for them to latch on to.
Right.
Biz's music was full of that. There wasn't a single song he ever made that was like, I don't understand what this is about.
Right. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. You the name of the song was what the song was about. Spring again. We talk about spring. The Biz dance. He talking about doing a dance he made up.
Yeah.
The vapors. He talking about people catching the vapors because, they hated it first, then they finally got up on it. You know what I mean? Just a friend. Talking about being just a friend. But it's like every single song he had, record to record, was relatable. Biz is like the weird hood dude down the street.
Yeah.
That everybody loves though.
Mm-hmm.
He come by, he know your mama be like, Biz, have you ate today?
Yeah.
Come in here and get a plate. Like, boy, you ain't cutting the grass. Well, Biz gonna cut the grass today. You know what I mean? He cutting everybody's grass. He helping people across the street. He's still goofy, but everybody love him. That's what Biz is about, man. Like, the other thing that's wild about Biz being so relatable to me is that, like, when you put Biz against the backdrop of hip hop, at the time, rappers are not talking about failing with women.
Right.
They're not talking about being rejected or weirdos. Outsiders.
Yeah, everybody was the flyest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody was flyest, got every chick they wanted, had all the money, had the cars, the clothes.
Thank you. And then Biz was one of the lone people to be like, nah, actually,
I'm broke. And girls don't like me.
I'm famous and I still can't get the chicks I want.
Right.
Which is wild. Like, yo, I'm famous and I still can't get what I'm looking for out here. The girls I want still play me.
Yeah.
And so it makes you really think like, yo, this dude, it made him so relatable. Like, yo, it's not just as simple, a cut and dry as, oh yeah, you become successful, you get everything you want, everything is perfect, you're the man now. Nah, he was willing to share his failures. And because he was willing to do that, he was more relatable than a lot of other artists.
I think this idea too is kind of what underground hip hop kind of, when it was ushered in, like our era of underground hip hop, because we were talking about stuff that nobody else was talking about. We was coming from a place where we wasn't rich. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was living everyday life, and the shit we talked about was shit that everybody could relate to. Yeah. That people our age that listen to our music could relate to. They were dealing with a lot of the same shit. This is why I think Atmosphere took off. Yep. You know what I'm saying? This is why, we took off. This is why Merce and, a lot of the underground cats took off, because we wasn't talking about jewels and cars and clothes and big houses. And, we was talking about how we felt. You know what I'm saying? Like, as teenagers, 20-somethings, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were talking about our actual feelings and just our lives in general. And there was a lot more people, in our circles that could relate to that, as opposed to, relating to having a Benz and, a fucking mansion on a hill and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree completely, man. That goes a long way in music, man. A lot of times people will think that they can't participate because they're so hung up on that thing of being like, I need to portray myself as like that already. Yeah. As the most successful, as like this almost superhero.
Right.
Biz was like the opposite of the superhero. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't, Clark Kent. He wasn't Superman. He was like Jimmy Olsen. You know what I'm saying? Like, the news guy. He never got to be the hero like that. But people loved him the same. He wasn't like that. And it made him very, very lovable. So that's number 6. Last joint, number 7. Whew, the creative genius of Biz Markie is his charisma. Yeah. Biz was a fucking performer. He had just like we talked about, just like the shot of him standing at the piano in the Just a Friend video. Mm-hmm. That's a dude who just was having fun and just embracing being a good performer. He's moving, just dramatic and swinging and moving his body. You can't be stiff and you can't do that. Stiff guys, you gotta really be into what you. And he, like you said, he can't sing,
right?
And he's still just having fun and singing badly great. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
Like, how you having an awesome time singing bad,
right?
And then everybody think, well, he can't sing that well, and this is so catchy. I can sing this. I can sing along with him.
Yeah.
You know, charisma. He did it like he didn't care. Sang like he was in his shower.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone sang along with him. You know, when you watch film of him, just the beatboxing to his interviews, to his music videos, he had a dope charisma about him.
Yeah, Biz seemed like the kind of dude that just walk in a room and you're immediately like drawn to him. Just because he was a big dude too. He was tall. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't small and skinny. You know what I mean? Like he seemed like the kind of dude, especially probably back in the day, that just walk in the room and it's Biz time now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's Biz time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man. He definitely is one of those guys, man, where he's like, you know, if you had to pick between like 10 rappers to hang out with, you know what I mean? Okay, these are my guys I rap with, but who do I hang out to have fun with?
Right.
Biz.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be like him, ODB, you know what I mean? Like guys who are just like gonna say and just be so charismatic that it's like, yo, I always have fun when I'm with this dude. He'll just be on some other shit. Even if we just sitting there watching cartoons, the commentary is just great.
Yeah. Like Redman.
Yeah,
you know?
Redman. Yeah, he's another one. Like, yo, this guy is he just got the charisma. Like, I just hang out with this fool all day. That's Biz, man. And a lot of charisma, man, for is involved in being yourself and not being ashamed of who you are.
Right.
You know, it's not about you don't have to be perfect to have charisma when you perform. You just have to be perfectly secure with what you're performing. You know, like once you become secure with what you're performing it with charisma it's like breathing. It's like talking, you know?
Yeah.
This podcast is probably a decent example of that. Like there were points when before this podcast, people ask me for years, I mean, I'm never doing a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll be boring on the podcast. I always thought I was be boring. I was like, I ain't got nothing to talk about.
Right.
But then everybody keep asking, no, Prince, you need to do one. You know, it would be fucking entertaining. And then even you, like, you're more open and comfortable being yourself now than ever.
Yeah, because it is.
Because of this podcast. Like, you can get on camera now and talk. All the things that you never used to be able to do because you were just naturally a shy dude. Yeah. You can do because you're comfortable. And now within this context, now it's like people get to see Illogic's charisma. They get to see, Illogic is not just the super poet dude. He's his dad. Right. He's funny as hell. He got some wild shit to say too. Yeah. But it takes sometimes being comfortable to really embrace and show our true charisma, which is just who we really are. And I think Biz had that early. Yeah. You know, he never had to.
And he embraced it.
Yeah. You know, some of us, it takes time. Like you say, like this podcast, it took me time to agree to do it. It took you time to kind of get into it. And then it's only helped you in everything you've done.
Right.
Because it gave us a venue for your charisma. And I think that is very important, man. So that's it.
That's it.
That's it this week, man. I hope that y'all got something out of this. I'm going to read back these traits of, you know, the diabolical Biz Markie. First one, top tier record collecting and creative sampling. Number 2 was hold on, where am I? Beatboxing. Number 3, put on Big Daddy Kane, you know, giving back. Number 4, sense of humor. Number 5, storytelling. Number 6, extremely relatable. Number 7, charisma. You know, that is the creative genius of Biz Markie. I hope that y'all got something out of this, man. These episodes are always fun for us to do.
Yeah, definitely.
We get to tie in everything we do anyway. And those of you who, you know, have picked up the 10 Traits book, you kind of know that we like to do these breakdowns. of artists. So if you haven't picked up the 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists book, pick that up. You know, if you like this conversation, you want to hear more like this, breakdowns of like these things and what truly makes artists successful. And I hope you got something out of this, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Super Duty Tough Work. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Follow the podcast on SoundCloud. Peace.
Shoot, I got styles already that's more complex that nobody know about. I mean, super duty tough work.